Hello there, everyone. It's Tanya here. Um, Here to chat about what the planets are doing this week, starting Monday, the 23rd of December. Now, we just had the solstice on the weekend, so depending on which part of the world you're in, you've got the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. So the energies of the solstice is different depending on where you are. So for those of you in the winter, experiencing winter right now, it's all about rest and pruning back what you no longer need in your lives. And in the southern hemisphere for the summer solstice, it's all about doing the work to go forward and to get everything sorted. It's kind of like your peak, like we're in the summer, people feel more energized, and it's the work that we're doing. So those energies play out differently. Just because you might be in the northern hemisphere having your winter solstice and having this time to go inward a little bit, it doesn't mean that you're not doing the work. It's more that inner work and that inner mastery, whereas in the southern hemisphere, the work is more external. It's more about what you're doing out in the world. And it's very fitting because we've just ticked over into Capricorn season. So I'm a Capricorn sun, so happy birthday for the next month to all my fellow Capricorns. And the sign of Capricorn, it is all about mastery. So it's what we need to do to get to the top of what we're doing, essentially. So the steps we need to take, the journey that we're on, Capricorn, it is signified as the mountain goat, so climbing to the top of the mountain. It also has another traditional representation of being the sea goat, which is a little bit more mystical and going to the depths as well, but it's a little bit different. But in this stage of mastery, I like to think of that mountain goat climbing, having that steady sure footing, like always seeing ahead to be like, okay, where do I have to put my foot at this time around, so I can reach the top and not fall down. How am I going to get through those tricky situations? And when you get to the peak, it's kind of like, how are you celebrating actually reaching the top? And reflecting on all the work that you've done. So this time of year, the Capricorn season, it's all about what we're mastering and how we're doing it. So with the planet Saturn currently in Capricorn as well, which is the ruler of Cap, we've got that extra discipline and focus helping us through. So it's all about doing not just busy work, but making sure that the work that we do is really on point, that we're not wasting our energy fretting about doing things that aren't relevant. We're actually taking really focused steps towards our goals. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the charts. Oh, I'm trying to share and it's not letting me share. So let's just go. Let's try that again. Here we go. There we go. So here's today's chart. So you'll see we've got the sun ticking over into Capricorn, and it's joining all of these other planets here. So Jupiter's just been in there for about a week or so. It's coming up to the south node. And then we've got our mates Saturn and Pluto, who've been in Capricorn for quite some time now. Saturn spends about 2.5 years per sign. So we're coming up to pretty much our, the next part of Saturn. It's going to hit Aquarius at a certain point and then retrograde back into Capricorn in 2020. So we'll get a little reprieve from all of that hard work about mid-year. But for now, it's still wanting us to do the work and still wanting us to focus. And as it's getting closer to Pluto, we'll start to really feel this transformational pull and this energy. So there is a big event happening in early Jan where Saturn and Pluto will be conjunct, and that's proving to be pretty intense energetically, but I'll chat more about that next year. We've got our friend Venus. She's now in Aquarius, and you know, she's giving us a little bit of detachment. We can start to see our values from, you know, from a higher perspective. We can kind of look down and see the bigger picture there rather than get caught up in the minutiae of life. And Aquarius is all about groups and friendships. So it's a really nice time for us to really enjoy our friends and family around us when she's there. And just in saying that, actually, I know that Christmas and the holiday season can be a little bit lonely and stressful for certain people. So, you know, reach out where you can to the organizations that are there for you. And if you do know someone in your life who you feel may be a little bit isolated this season, reach out to them and pull them into your group. You know, you never know how appreciated that might be by someone. The other thing is too, Venus is making this aspect over to Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus being about change, it is kind of how we're changing our value system and how we might be changing traditions this year. You know, families evolve, babies get born, partners come into the equation, and so the way that you might be celebrating this year could be different to how you've always done it. So, you know, it's time to embrace that change and to create new traditions. So these guys will be helping us with that. We've still got Mercury in Sagittarius over here for about another week or so before it too joins all of these planets in Capricorn. So we're going to be really heavy Capricorn for the next little while. And then we've got the Moon and Mars hanging out together in Scorpio. So, you know, these guys will bring a bit of intensity to the actions that we're taking and our emotional attachment to them. So just be a little bit aware of that. Make sure that if you are still out doing, you know, present shopping, or you're at the supermarkets, that you don't allow yourself to get too overcome and stressed out by it all, or too aggravated towards other people. A friend of mine actually put a beautiful post on Facebook about how he's spreading love this season and forever. Actually, as a thing, he lives in London, so he's, you know, it's quite stressful over there with all of the politics, etc., going on. So he's just like spreading love, open doors, help people, you know, just be the light. So yeah, rather than let yourself get caught up in all of the stress and the aggravation, it's like, kind of, how can you be the light, and how can you act with integrity at all times towards other people. So that's today. And probably the next big thing that's really going to happen this week is the new moon. So this is the chart for Melbourne and what it will look like at the exact time of the new moon. We've actually got the sun and the moon here at 4 degrees Capricorn, and then Jupiter's there at 5, and the south node, just because these glyphs are so big, it looks like they take up the space in Sagittarius, but they're actually up here. And so it's going to be a solar eclipse. And normally new moons are a time for setting intentions, but when an eclipse comes along, it's, you know, it's not really ideal to set a new intention at eclipse time. Eclipses tend to bring sudden changes to our lives. It will quickly prune out the things that we need to get rid of. So it's all about allowing and just really thinking intentionally about what we're doing. That whole Capricorn theme about doing things in a very focused way. So that's happening on the 26th of December, so Boxing Day. So, you know, potent energies will be around if you're still having your celebrations Boxing Day or following. Just be really aware that people might be on edge, that things might be happening to them, especially if they have a lot of Capricorn and Cancer in their charts. So we tend to have eclipses in pairs, sometimes 3 in a row. And for the last couple of years, they've been happening in the signs of Cancer and Capricorn. So if you've got a lot of energy happening in these signs in your chart, you would have been experiencing some sudden changes. And you know, we'll have this for a little bit longer before this year we'll start to shift into having our eclipses in the signs of Sagittarius and Gemini. So that will bring a different energy to it. But I know personally, I've got a bit of Capricorn and prominent Cancer in my chart, and particularly in the zones of my my home and my career. So I have experienced a lot of sudden changes and shifts in my home life and my career over the last couple of years. So for me, it's just a matter of stepping back and just knowing that whatever happens, even if it's something unexpected and sudden, that it's all going to work out for the best, because that's how I've been experiencing things in the last couple of years. So for you, it could be different depending on how your chart looks. And you can go to astro.com here and put in your birth details and see what's going on, or you can book in a reading with me and we can chat about that further. Because also January, we've got the full moon eclipse in Cancer, followed by the Saturn Pluto conjunction and all this other stuff going on, which I'll probably do a special video or blog post about, because that is really in depth. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I want. And there are other aspects going on. As you can see, there's lines all over the chart, but that's pretty much the biggest thing that's happening this week is this new moon eclipse. So I really wanted to just focus on that. And know too, like, there's still this aspect to Uranus, which is all about change. The changes are coming, whether we like it or not. And we just need to lean back and relax and allow all the good things, you know. So even if it feels really tough and harsh, just know that it's just clearing out and pruning away what you don't need. It's like a tree losing its leaves so it can flourish again in the summertime. You know, things disappear from our lives to make space for beautiful new things. So just keep that in mind. I hope you have a beautiful week, whatever you're doing. And I will chat to you soon. Bye.